Animation studio MAPPA is known for some fantastic work. You have series like Yuri on Ice. Yes, it's actually really good. I'll talk about that another time. The final season of Attack on Titan, as well as the way popular Jujutsu Kaisen. And MAPPA rolls out just top quality animation. We've seen them in the headlines recently where they've had some issues with some of their animators, but there's no denying the quality of work they're putting out. Now, Jujutsu Kaisen really picked up steam as soon as it hit last October, 2020. There's another series that you may want to check out. It's called The God of High School. It's based on a Korean manhwa, which is, a Korean comic, kind of the equivalent of manga and anime. And it rolled out from Crunchyroll. It's only got 13 episodes, but there's a lot to love about this series, especially if you like a Jujutsu Kaisen. And we're going to take a look at some of the reasons that it's awesome, and also some of the shortcomings. I feel like it did get a disservice. Hit a few months before Jujutsu Kaisen. There was a lot going on in 2020, but let's go ahead and take a look at how good this series, The God of High School, really is. So the story in The God of High School picks up with just some really weird happenings on an island where you have some government officials kind of just vacationing, and all of a sudden they get smashed by a hand. It's kind of weird, but then we jump into the main story, which focuses on a tournament for high school students. It's in Korea, and they have these commissioners that have gone around and selected different competitors. So the commissioners work for Mujin Park. Mujin Park, we are introduced to pretty early in the series. Is he protagonist, antagonist? You kind of get to decide that. The webcomic definitely goes into more detail. But he's running this tournament, and you just see a number of just top quality martial art high school students facing off. Our main one is Jin Mori, who is trained, raised by his grandfather. His grandfather comes into the story a little more later. He disappears. But high school tournament starts. He's looking for strong people to fight. He becomes friends with a couple other competitors, Daewee Han and Mira Yu. So the first round of the tournament is all, one-on-one, single fighter elimination. Once that ends, the top team, the top three, which happens to be Jin and his friends, they become a team and they enter into the next round after the preliminaries. So the anime itself, you're going along and you're watching, and it's a fighting tournament. Okay, you can dig it. The intro is dope, but we get some really weird happenings a little later in the series. You see some of these commissioners, the ones that recruited everybody, the ones that work for Mujin. They have these chariot powers. Think of, a stand from JoJo, or even a persona from the Persona video game series. But they have these borrowed powers that they use, and some of them have limits on. They're not really supposed to show them. But when they come under attack from another group that we're introduced to, this group called Nox, you start seeing how these powers play out. So the tournament's ongoing. Meanwhile, you have these happenings where you've got Mujin with his agenda. You've got this group Nox with their agenda. You got Jin's grandfather. He's captured and he goes missing. He's one of the most powerful people in the world. So you have all this mystery going on, and it's all centered around this tournament. So the tournament, they're trying to unlock something within one of our fighters. And sadly, the tournament gets interrupted, and just I'm just gonna leave it as weirdness starts happening. I don't want to spoil it because it's actually it's a solid concept of a story, but the fight gets interrupted, more fights happen, and there is kind of a progression where Jin starts to learn like who he is. He's got a kind of a mysterious past. The different fighters on his team, from Daewee to Mira, they both have some chariot powers they unlock. And overall, we get a lot in a very compressed amount of time. Starts as a fighting tournament, ends as, well, we're going to see. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's good, what's bad, and kind of where this series should go. So there's a lot to love in The God of High School. For me personally, that intro song, it's called Contradiction. It just hits with the power and the flow and the style, and it just makes you kind of want to get up and, be at a workout, hopefully not get in a fight with somebody, but it really just relays that power of the series. And like any good anime, it shows off a lot of the different characters, a lot of the different plot points you're going to learn about. The animation style coming from MAPPA it's awesome. Like I said, once I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen, I was like, hey, this reminds me a lot of The God of High School. And the voice work is funny. There's a couple things that take some getting used to, but overall, it's a solid anime. So I'm watching this, I'm like, I cannot wait to get to like episode 20, 25, how much further we go. I got the Webtoon, and I'm reading up on that, and wow, the anime covers the first, let's say, 111 chapters. Like each story within a Webtoon's a chapter. So it covers like the first 111, 112 chapters, but that series right now is in the 500s. So there's a lot of story to be told. And there's a lot that I'm not saying now because at only 13 episodes, there's no reason for me to really spoil it beyond what I have already. But just know it's just a solid series. A lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to check out the intro music, and the characters are really, really enjoyable. But my biggest gripe with the series, let's get to that in just a second. All right, so what's interesting? I don't want to say bad, but what's a little different about this series that may turn some people off? Well, most anime have a set style. We've seen some variances, but you have this cookie cutter look in anime. And this being a Korean manhwa, it has a slightly different look. The characters are a little different, the settings are a little different, and a lot of traditional otaku may not like that. But get over it. It's a really good series. There's some design that reminds me of fighters. It almost looks like they have cauliflower at certain points, but they have like a little red on the tip of their ears and their noses. It's just a little quirky, and some of the characters have different eyes, not normal people's, Jin included. And once you kind of go through that, it works. The style and the flow of the series is awesome, but where we lose steam, you have these first couple episodes, these first handful of episodes where you have like these one-on-one fighting tournaments. Each episode's like maybe a one-on-one, some character building. There's some good backstory thrown in there. But once the weirdness starts to happen, once Nox shows up and some of these other groups show up, that's my biggest gripe. They rush it. Like I said, this is only 111 chapters into the webcomic, and having read through that, I'm not fully caught up, but having read through what I have, there's a lot more story to tell. There's a lot more they could have taken and made this first 13 episodes, that's season 1. Not even getting into these kind of otherworldly, heavenly realm type fights. They could have saved that for the second 13 episodes. Make a complete, first season of 26 episodes, really take the time. But this felt like a test run for Jujutsu Kaisen. It felt rushed. The story is rushed. It's only 13 episodes. A lot happens. And you start by watching what you think is like, oh my God, this amazing fighting series, high school tournament, fun characters. Man, this reminds me of stuff that I just dig this type of anime. But then it takes a left turn. That left turn's not weird, but it's like you're out having pizza and man, this pizza is really delicious. And then somebody takes and they put in front of you like a super savory fish dish, which is also awesome, but it's like fish and pizza. It just changes really fast. That's my only gripe with it. I'm hoping, and they should get another season of this out. Crunchyroll is doing a really good job of finding and creating unique new anime. So I'm hoping we get another season and that it can help kind of alleviate some of those issues. But what's going to happen is if you came into this liking the fighting tournament, the characters and their styles and their backstory, you're going to find that shifts pretty fast. And that what starts off as one pizza-based anime that's really delicious shifts to another fish type of anime that may be also delicious but may not be your flavor. So you're going to have to watch it, 13 episodes only. But overall, what do I think about this series? Let's take a look. All right, so I've already spouted on what I love about this series. It's quick, fast, awesome action, likable characters, beautiful animation, great character design. There's humor involved. There's mystery involved. These chariot powers are pretty cool. Like I said, reminds me a lot of JoJo, a lot of Persona. And it's just overall a really fun series. I hated that it was only 13 episodes. I wanted more. And when you want more of something, it's always a good thing. But I just wanted more to this. I wanted more of the story to be fleshed out. I didn't want it to feel so rushed. Like once you get to episode 13, you're kind of like, wait a second, that's season 1 and he just became, no spoilers. But where are we going with this now? It's no longer a fighting tournament. They never finished the tournament, but we met all these cool characters. Where are they at? Are they going to get back involved? So there's a lot more to be found out. You can do yourself a big service and go read the webcomic. It's good. It's enjoyable. It's actually one of my favorite series. Again, Complication, the opening song, it's just so good. So good. You just got to listen to it. Just you drive down the road, people are like, bro, what are you listening to? It's like, don't worry about that, But it's so good. It's so much fun. It is not to the level of a Jujutsu Kaisen. It just didn't have the story fleshed out as much. The characters are as lovable. The setting is just as engaging and creative, but it just doesn't have as much. Can you imagine Jujutsu Kaisen condensed down into 13 episodes? You're not pulling off the story you have. Even if you take like Attack on Titan season 4, they have to extend that out. They didn't have enough time to really expand it out. So take any series and imagine cutting it shorter. Look at the Zack Snyder Justice League. his director's cut, or the Snyder cut. Way better with more content. Not everything is, but this would have been. So The God of High School, highly recommended. Awesome series, only 13 episodes. You may be a little confused at the end, or you may dig it. But check it out. Love to hear back from you on what you think. And we'll be back with more information, more content here on Anime Otosan. Thank you.